or building our health, or whatever the case may be. If you know the show, I say this all the time, build your team of people who you trust. And Angie's one of those people who I trust. You know, what I know about, and I don't let me forget my own gratitude, because I will. What I know about CBD is it is not all created equal. Just like food's not all created equal, and just like most things aren't all created equally. So what I'm grateful for today, I do love what you said. I love the sun. Love that. I love it though, the sun when it's not cold.
It helps a lot when it is cold.
It does. I'm definitely a warm weather girl. I think I love this, you know, it's this time of year. This time of year, I love Christmas. I love what Christmas is about. You know, not the gift giving. You know, as a Christian, it just brings in so much, you know, grounding and gratitude for you know, where we are, where I am, and all the gifts that I've been given. It's just a really beautiful time of year.
Yeah.
So
it is December. Yeah.
Yeah.
December 1st.
Yeah. Oh, it is December 1st.
December 1st.
Man.
We are.
So
the year will be over before we know it.
You know what I'm looking forward to, though, is that week between Christmas and Thanksgiving.
Christmas and New Year's?
Yes, Christmas and New Year's. That one, yeah, thank you for that. But I always like that, you know, kind of just chill time. Let's work on what we're going to do next year. More building, more growing.
Goal setting.
Figuring out my word of the year. I think I have it. This year was growth. 2 years ago was truth. I believe that next year is expansion.
That's a good one.
I believe that's what it is. So this is my growth.
Your little mantra band.
Yeah. I need to get some new ones. You can't see it anymore, so we'll figure that one out. Anyway, so let's move on. Let's chat a little bit about, you know, who you are, where you came from, why. I mean, I know what you do besides the hemp, but you know, what brought you to where you are? Because what you do, I just have so much respect for what you do, because you have people's lives in your hands every day.
Sure.
It's crazy. Okay, so talk about it.
Okay. That being said, yeah, so, you know, I've always been into science. I was a science nerd as a kid. Always loved the human body, anatomy, physiology. I went to nursing school. I ended up going to anesthesia school. I've been in healthcare for a long time. I'm starting to realize the business of healthcare and seeing sick people. It's actually sick care. It's a big business. There's a lot of money in it. You know, I have patients every day on a notebook page list of medications, and a lot of times they don't know why they're on the medications. They don't know which medications are for what.
I hear that all the time.
It's true.
It's like, I'm doing it because that's what I was told to do.
Yeah. And there's never a plan to get off these medications. In fact, more are layered on to treat the side effects of the prior medications, and it's just this vicious cycle of people just not feeling good. They're sick. We're putting Band-Aids on their problems, not getting to the root cause. I feel like it's sad.
It's really sad.
Yeah, I feel like it's sad. I feel like a lot of people don't have hope. They don't ask the questions. They don't, you know, speak up for themselves and try to find alternate treatments. They just go to a surgeon, fix me, give me a pill, fix me. You know, diet, sleep, all the things that we can kind of have control of ourselves. People just, you know, I feel like they give up.
You know, it's such a great way, I mean, it's sad, it's a great way of putting it, because one of the things that I talk about and I see is when people are not well, in whatever capacity that looks like, there seems to be an amazing amount of disempowerment.
Exactly.
They are scared, they're confused, they don't understand, why is their body fighting them? You know, even if they've lived a life of terrible food, they're like, what's wrong with my body, and how can I fix it, and how can I just get a pill? But there is disempowerment, especially when it's this chronic, ongoing, nobody knows. People tell me I'm crazy, because we get that a lot. Right? It's you know, it's really heart-wrenching, you know, because people then, you know, finally get to me, and I'm listening, and I do my best to give hope, because I'm like, there's something there. Your body's just talking to you.
The symptoms are messages from our bodies.
Yes.
Something isn't right.
Yeah.
Listen to the messages.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. So keep that in mind. If there's anything that you're dealing with, whether it's a minor headache, whether it is joint pain, whether it's gut pain, whether it's infertility, some kind of inflammation, whatever it is that's going on, it's your body talking to you. Don't just look at it like a symptom. Don't just look at it like, okay, I need to go take an Advil, or let me go to my doctor so I can go get whatever script that might be out there. This is your body talking to you. And what we've done, I believe, as a society, is we've lost so much of our ability to listen. And my, as I'm growing in my own business and in my practice and where I'm going, it's this mission to bring that empowerment back to people so they have the power to listen to their body, to understand what it is that works best for them, to know that they're different than every other person out there, and that to take that accountability to do the things or find the team and find the people to help guide you, whatever that looks like, right? And so there are a lot of ways of doing that. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't go see our doctor, because sometimes we need to go see our doctor, and that's fine. But sometimes there are so many other amazing options that we either don't know about, or we're afraid of, or we don't believe in, or we've had a bad experience with. I mean, there are a lot of practitioners out there of all sorts who are really bad.
It's unfortunate, but
it's true. It's true.
It is
I
true.
mean, there are nutritionists that aren't great, there are doctors that aren't great, there are attorneys who aren't great. My husband's father, who was an attorney, would always say, well, not always, but he would say, half of attorneys finished in the bottom half of their class. And so, and I said that to somebody the other day, and they were like, yeah, you're that surgeon who's at the bottom might be the one who's operating on you.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
They have the same license, but
They
people who don't do their homework,
Yeah.
I feel like we need to research and network and ask for referrals.
Yes.
I'm a big fan of word of mouth and referrals.
It is. And it just goes back to that, you are empowered when you're taking accountability for your health. And it's a big deal. And it's not always easy, which is why you build your team. Anyway.
Absolutely.
Carry on.
Well,
you get on my soapboxes a little
bit. I know, right? Well, all that being said, what I do have people's lives in my hands. What I was shocked to find out is that our bodies have an entire system that most of us don't even know about.
Is that political?
I don't know what it is. It's fairly new, relatively discovered in 1992, I believe, early to mid-90s.
Wow, okay.
So it's relatively new, the last 30 years. But still today, in 2022, only 13% of medical schools are actually teaching this.
That's probably more than they're getting nutrition.
I know of one medical school that's getting nutrition. I've heard the first happened this summer. I read it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no nutrition, very little about the endocannabinoid system.
Yeah. Yeah.
There was a whole report back in 1910 that standardized medical education to not incorporate natural remedies and treatments.
It's just amazing, and that's political.
That was very political.
I mean,
deep pockets, heavily invested in the pharmaceutical companies. It goes way back.
It does. It does, and it's so sad. This is a time where we're getting sicker. We have so much knowledge, so much education, so much connection, so much out there, and we're getting sicker and sicker and sicker and sicker. Why is that? It's we've politicized fat, we've politicized cannabis, we've politicized all of these things that are created by God, and it's just kind of a little bit disgusting to me. Now, when it comes, in my opinion, when it comes to things like cannabis, there is personal responsibility. Go figure, right? I mean, I think it's important for us to understand that, yes, it can have not, we're talking THC now, not CBD, and I want to get into the differences, so we can talk about that.
Yes.
But, we have responsibility. We should be able to have our own responsibility for the way that we handle our bodies and our lives. Some people are going to screw it up really bad. but it's their responsibility. And some people are going to do the right things, and it's their responsibility. So I think giving people personal responsibility is really, really important, and personal responsibility over the health, which is also why you entitled the show what it is, because it is, we have a responsibility to ourselves, and we should be in control of ourselves and that responsibility.
Yes, to an extent.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
With the team, like you stated.
Yeah, with people we know. I mean, that's why I have a bookkeeper, because I would screw my books up all over the place.
Right. Right, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, talking about the cannabis family, you know, going back to you know, the early to mid 1900s, it was made out to be stigmatized. Yep. You know, there were propaganda and movies and all kinds of stuff to instill fear, shock the public, and people still, they remember that, and that's what's been taught to us. So we just have that stigma of cannabis. So this cannabis family, there's hemp and there's marijuana, two different plants, two different properties. Hemp is high in CBD, low in THC, and marijuana is the opposite. It is high in THC, concentrations of 5 to 35%, and low in CBD. And actually, medical marijuana users are given CBD because it binds the same receptor, and CBD will knock THC off the receptor.
Interesting.
To bring people back to, you know, that THC has that state of euphoria, where CBD just has like a state of calm and balance. The whole purpose of the endocannabinoid system is to bring back balance between all of our systems. And there are a lot of analogies out there, but the one I really like is about, think of the endocannabinoid system like the conductor of an orchestra. And all the other systems are the different, you know, musicians. And when one gets out of balance, it's the conductor's responsibility to kind of bring them all back into harmony.
Cool.
Yeah.
Do you know what an adaptogen is? Have you heard that?
I do. Oh yeah,
okay.
Absolutely.
Would you consider cannabis or hemp an adaptogen?
I would.
Okay, that's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah, I would.
Super cool. So if you don't know what adaptogen you don't know what an adaptogen is, they're amazing components in herbs and mushrooms that allow and help the body to adapt to whatever situation it is. So you've got ginseng, and you've got reishi, and you've got astragalus and ashwagandha, all of these really cool plants that help the body to adapt. And it really just, you know, what's interesting though is how they create the adaptive situation where cannabis has an actual, I mean, and we're saying this already, but I'm just kind of putting it together as we're talking, but it's got its own system to create that adaptation. Yeah? I mean, the endocannabinoid system.
Absolutely.
Which is, I mean, we don't have a astragalus system, astragaloid system, you know.
We might.
Anyway,
who knows what they'll discover.
That's really true. Anyway.
Well, actually, you know, so our bodies actually make cannabinoids. There are two major cannabinoids. Our own bodies produce endocannabinoids.
Okay.
Anandamide.
Did not know that.
Anandamide is the bliss molecule. Ananda meaning bliss in Sanskrit, so that's where that comes from. That's kind of that euphoric feeling, or I shouldn't say euphoric, that runner's high you get after exercise.
Yeah.
So that's what you're feeling. It's not endorphins, as we've been led to believe. It's from anandamide.
Interesting.
And the other major one is called 2AG. It's an abbreviation for some big long word that I don't know how to pronounce. And that's actually produced in mother's breast milk.
I think I heard that. Maybe
So,
you told me that.
I might have told you that.
Yeah.
But it's you know, when you hear about breastfed babies being happier, healthier, they get that kind of milk drunk happy, like that's what it is. So our bodies, you know, we evolved with cannabis, you know, millions and millions of years up until 1937, you know, the Marijuana Tax Act came about and they banned it. So it's been out of our hands for, you know, almost 100 years, you know, 80-ish years, and now it's back. In 2018, hemp became federal legal in all 50 states.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be just amazing to see what happens. You know, like you said, I feel like we're our sickest with all the mental disorders, cancers, diabetes. A lot of issues are just really out of hand.
It's true. It's true. And it just, I find it to be mind-boggling. Again, going back to how much information we have and how much we've learned, and there's still so much more to learn. But the fact that we just keep getting sicker and sicker is mind-boggling. But it also is leading us to this place where I am, where you are, at least in part, into the more let's look for root cause. Let's understand what's going on in the body. Let's understand the toxicants that are in our air and in our food, and let's dig in and help the body do what it's supposed to do. Because at this point, that's not what we're starting to. We're moving in that direction, which is a beautiful thing. And I happen to be I feel blessed to be on this journey into the functional medicine, functional nutrition world, and seeing things like hemp being used more regularly to help people who need it. And you have, I mean, we'll get into this here in a little bit, but the testimonials that you have, which are amazing. And I also want to get into why, and maybe we do that now, unless there's something else that you want to say.
I was just going to say too, so there is a thing as an endocannabinoid deficit. So we are deficient, and we are not supplementing. You exercise. Some foods have some cannabinoids, but the phytocannabinoids that come from the plant, there are over 100 cannabinoids that have been discovered, and the best way is to supplement.
So, question about that.
Yes.
So, I love supplements. I do. I use them all the time therapeutically. Curious though, why the best way isn't by eating it?
Well, it's probably the most bang for your buck, like the easiest. I definitely eating it, definitely self-care. The stressors of daily life, environmental toxins, the foods we eat, the pills we put in our bodies, those all break down the cannabinoid stores. So we need to replenish them in whatever way, by exercise, by diet, by supplement. I mean, there are a number of ways.
Okay. Yeah, one of the things that sticks in my head always, and you just reminded me of it, is that toxicity leads to deficiency. So whether that's in nutrients, whether that's in the endocannabinoid system, we wonder why, as a society, and I see it every day, why we're always low in vitamin D. Well, there are a number of reasons, but toxicity leads to deficiency. Why are we always low in vitamin K or vitamin E or magnesium, right? Magnesium's everywhere. Everybody's low in it. Toxicity leads to deficiency. And so just like what you're saying, if we're toxic, we're living in a toxic world, we're not doing the things that we need to do to allow the body to detoxify and rebuild and repair, then we're going to be deficient in the endocannabinoid system as well.
Absolutely.
So, okay. No, that makes perfect sense. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Cool. So I think I was looking at my notes here. I think just for a few minutes ago, I wanted to get into the differences in CBD, because at this point, you can get CBD at the grocery store, maybe at like the
convenience store,
convenience
gas station,
store. You can
Amazon, perhaps. I've been told that that's not really, they're not allowed to sell it legally, so I don't know what they're actually selling. There was some testing done, and 91% of the bottles that consumers buy were falsely labeled. Some were just olive oil, some had THC, no CBD, toxins, heavy metals, pesticides, E. coli. You don't know what you're getting. It's unregulated industry. Anybody can jump in there, label a bottle, put it on a shelf, and sell it for whatever they want. And we don't know what's in there. The company that I've chose to partner with, we have a certificate of analysis on every single product that you can scan. Independent third-party lab testing tells you exactly what is and what isn't in that bottle.
So, this is going to be another soapbox. I'll be as quick as I can. So I think this brings in our own personal accountability and understanding and knowing what it is you're buying, and not just trusting marketing, because marketing works really, really well. But going back to Amazon, Amazon, eBay, any of those big sort of distributorship kind of companies where you can buy anything, supplements, essential oils, CBD products, all of those things they are not safe to buy off of those places. And anytime I talk to people, it's like, buy it at Whole Foods, buy it at Vitamin Cottage, whatever you want to do. If you have a Vitamin Cottage, you may not know what that is, but buy it at places that are reputable. I use professional lines, which I think is really, really important. But the data shows we have the professional lines who bought their own products off of Amazon or eBay, and they've tested them, and they've come to be either expired, not the product that they said it was, or they've even seen sawdust.
Oh.
Right.
That's gross.
So think about sawdust. You're like, wood, it's fine, it's natural, it's a plant, but think about if it's sawdust from a house. What are the chemicals that they put in it? From any kind of building materials, the chemicals that go into a fence. It's really, really scary, and it's a huge problem. So just be aware of what you're doing when you're buying anything online. Just do your research.
Find a reputable source. Know where it's coming from.
Yes, it's so, so important. And like you said, all of the metals, the fungi, the molds, all of these toxins that are in all herbs. You buy your herbs at the grocery store that are not organic and not healthy. They always tend to be higher in heavy metals. Talk about a toxic load, and you just think you're cooking with healthy herbs. It's not the case. We got to be really, really careful.
Yeah.
Soapbox, sorry.
That's okay. The other thing I was going to say is the most important thing when buying CBD is knowing where your hemp is coming from. 80% of the hemp sold in our country comes from China, where it's planted.
Talk about toxic.
Where it's planted to clean. It's a bioaccumulator plant, scavenger plant. It can go 6 feet down in the soil to pull all the whatever's in there. After Chernobyl, hemp was planted to clean up after the nuclear disaster. So it's planted in China to clean the soil, to clean the air, shipped to the U.S., and then it's white labeled by another company based in the U.S.
Yeah.
And if you don't dig deep enough, and if you don't do the research, you would just think it's from the U.S. So finding that transparency, where it's from, organic, it's a hard certification to get, to maintain. It's not easy. It's not cheap. It's an extra layer of safety and reassurance of a quality product, and that's kind of how this company was founded. Meredith, the founder of the company, wanted something safe to give her children because it worked for her. But there was inconsistencies in the things she was using, and so her and her husband partnered with 6th-generation sweet potato farmers in Wilmington, North Carolina, and Green Compass was born.
I believe that there are people out there who build these companies who maybe don't have the means of doing the testing that somebody like Green Compass does, or some of the other supplement companies who I use because it's expensive, and they have their heart is in the right place, but still not always the products are what you want the products to be. So, when you say, digging down deep and really understanding and knowing that the data is there to be found with ease on the website it's really, really important. And I love that. I love that it's so easy to find, just to know that it's good. This is a situation where all you have to do is look on the website. You don't have to find somebody who knows everything about CBD. You're just like, oh, it's all here.
Yeah, full transparency.
Yeah.
I know here in Colorado we can go into dispensaries and buy, but then it's not out there for you. The people working there, they don't know where it's from.
Right. Yeah, even in dispensaries, we have a couple, there was a time when I had dogs with cancer, and my father-in-law had cancer, and, so I was going into the dispensaries and purchasing for them, and I did my best to understand what was good, and, I talked to people, but I didn't really know.
No.
How do you know?
It's hard to know. You have to find someone who's taken the time to get educated and find a company, a brand you trust, whatever brand that is. Do your homework.
For sure. Let me take a super quick break. So as we're talking about supplements, I want to make sure that we talk about our sponsor, Cellcore Biosciences, who is just another company that I just love because they are unique and super interesting about the way that they deliver their supplements, their nutrients to the cells. They get to that that mitochondrial layer. They get, it's all about cellular health. It's not, let's just supplement vitamin D because we're deficient in vitamin D. Again, it goes to toxicity leads to deficiency. So let's get to the root cause of why there's deficiency. Let's eliminate those things and then allow the body then to rebuild its stores, right? And so Cellcore is truly innovative, and I appreciate them. They work so well. You can only get them through practitioners, so feel free to reach out to me, but you can find practitioners, I'm sure, all over the place. They're growing like mad because their products are so good. I use them all the time at this point. So they are great people, great company. I appreciate their view on life and their outlook on life and where they stand, and so that's a good thing for me. But they are really an amazing group of people, an amazing company. So if it's something that you want to look into, you do have to go through a practitioner because they're so strong. But feel free to reach out, go to the website, check them out. They've got a lot of good data out there too. So appreciate them.
I'm gonna check that out.
Yeah, it's really good stuff.
For sure.
Yeah. Let me know. There are lots of fun, kind of crazy things we can do with it.
I love that.
Talking about parasites and worms, this is the stuff that's going to get to the parasites and worms.
Yes.
It's crazy stuff. So let's talk a little bit more about just Green Compass and how you got involved and why you got involved and all of those things.
Okay.
Yeah.
I knew nothing about CBD. I'll just go into say this is kind of the silver lining of the pandemic for me. It was April 2020. I started using CBD for my own insomnia. I was not sleeping at all. And I was having physical symptoms. I had a rash on my face, my eyes were swollen, a rash on my hands, like all these non-specific like inflammation symptoms. So I started doing some research. Green Compass kind of just fell in my lap. It was another nurse anesthetist like myself who was doing this, and I was just really curious more about the science. I never thought this would ever be a real legit business for me. I had a job. I have a job I really like, so it's funny how things just fall in your lap and you end up changing career paths. I'm going to stick with, I'm sticking with anesthesia as long as I can.
Yeah.
I don't plan to ever fully leave it, but you just never know what the future will bring. But it worked for me. Again, I was kind of keeping it to myself. I felt a little selfish. Once I actually, June of 2021, I did an event, and two things happened from this. It was a cycling event. I trained for months for it, but like the week of the event, I had this terrible neck and shoulder pain on my right side. And I was like telling my team, I was like, guys, I'm not gonna be able to do this race. And I remembered I had some CBD topical cream. Within 2 days, I felt good as new. And so I actually did the event. After the event, they have all the vendors set up, the food and the swag and all the vendors set up. And there was a local Colorado CBD tent set up. So I went and got a sample. I love samples.
Samples are amazing.
Trying new things.
I know.
This particular sample, it was a CBD oil that when I looked at it, it was kind of cloudy. It had some sediment, particulate. It was green in color. When you take the CBD oil sublingual, it's absorbed by your sublingual glands. It's fat soluble, so you hold it under your tongue. When I put this under my tongue, it tasted like weed. It smelled terrible.
Yeah.
It burned my eyes. It burned my throat. And I had been using this other product, and I was like, people need to know that it doesn't have to be this way. And I think a lot of people have tried CBD. They've tried these bad products, and it's put a bad, I've tried it. Yeah. I didn't like it. It didn't taste good. It didn't work.
It didn't work. Yeah.
That's usually the biggest one. And I would say the biggest thing with CBD is consistency.
Yeah.
It's not a spot treatment. You can't, like a vitamin D, you can't just take it once and your vitamin D level is normal. You've got to take it every day. You've got to give it time to work.
Yeah.
Even prescription medications, they don't work overnight. You've got to get on a consistent schedule with it, stay consistent, stay on course. Yeah. And let it work. Yeah. Because it does.
So I don't mean to interrupt you, but Lowell Whiteman is a friend of mine who he has a show here, 360 Mindset at KUHS. He's actually the one who brought me in. Hi, Lowell.
Hi, Lowell.
So he's asking a question. I have to, the phones and iPads and all of that stuff are kind of far away. So I'm like, what are you saying, Lowell? So he says, how does state certification and regulation influence CBD quality?
Well, it's a federal, it's legal federally, so the state has nothing to do with it. And there is no regulation. It's completely wide open, unregulated. The state doesn't really have anything to do with it.
Which, getting into the politics of it, I personally have no problem with it. I would prefer things not be regulated, and for me to have the ability to do my own research, because I'm regulating myself.
Yes.
Do you agree with that?
I agree with that.
Yeah. I think that that's really important. So anyway, I think he's asking the same thing. How many? Oh, he's on both. He's on Instagram and Facebook. Lowell, you're crazy. Can you read it?
Oh wait, I can read something over here. It says, good morning. How many cannabinoids are readily available other than CBD? Okay. I know that of the 100 plus cannabinoids that have been discovered, my company currently has CBD, CBDA, CBG, CBN. So we have as the research comes out, we're actually affiliated with the University of North Carolina, which I love because we're kind of at the forefront of the research.
Well, and that's where you're from?
I spent a lot of my adult life in North Carolina, so yeah, it's kind of, some ties to what feels like home.
Yeah.
But CBN, this year alone, we had 3 new products come on the market.
Oh,
CBDA, CBG, and CBN.
And each are for?
CBN is specifically for sleep.
Okay.
So CBD is like the broad, it is for your whole endocannabinoid system to bring all the systems into balance. And then as you get a little bit more specific, CBG is like the mother of all cannabinoids. It's good for joints, skin, hair, nail health, things like that. CBDA, more specific for like nausea and actually sleep too, and other. It actually had a big thing with the pandemic with fighting.
Oh.
Yeah, some things. I can't make any medical claims here, but.
Well, I mean, it's interesting though. Interesting what it can affect, because obviously, if we have a whole if we have an endocannabinoid system, it means we've got receptor sites all over our body.
CB1 primarily in the brain, CB2 in the periphery and the immune system.
It's so cool.
Every single organ, there's not a single physiologic process that's not influenced by the endocannabinoid system, not one.
So interesting.
Every organ has these receptors.
What is your favorite, or you might have multiple, which is fine, testimonial?
Personal or?
Either way, whatever you want.
Well, can I do both? Do we have time?
Yeah, okay. We've got, like 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes.
Okay, so we have a site that you can go in, and it's product testimonials from, everything from women with postpartum depression, children with ADHD, veterans, pain, all, I'm just very inspired. The stories will bring tears to your eyes. Kids with seizures. There's actually a pharmaceutical preparation that is used in high dose for kids with seizures in the hospital currently. The pharmaceutical company got
the CBD.
It's called Epidiolex.
So is it synthetic or is it?
I believe it's natural. There are some synthetic products out there, but this
that's what drugs are, right?
Yeah.
Most of them are synthetic components of a plant.
Yeah.
Or a lot of them. I don't know. I don't have data on that or stats, but a lot of it. Aspirin is white willow bark, right? So anyway, carry on.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So
I digress.
There are just loads and loads, page after page of testimonials. My personal favorite is one of my friends. She's a woman in her 70s who, she got put on Ambien 20 years ago.
20 years ago.
Oh, at least 20 years ago.
And how damaging? We talk about. Sorry, I'm going to do this again. We talk about epigenetics and things that have an impact on our epigenome. Imagine what 20 years of a drug is going to do to your epigenome. It's just
so she came to me knowing that it wasn't doing her body good, and she said she was dependent on it. Like she could not go without it. And most people start at 5 milligrams. She was on a 10 milligram dose for over 20 years. And she came to me and she said, if you can get me off this stuff, like I'll be whatever, your best friend. And I was like, I've got my work cut out for me here, I was a little, intimidated, but I was like, I'm up for the challenge. I believe in her. I believe in this product. And so we got her on a regimen, and I I told her to give it 3 months, just, for any kind of withdrawal. Like, you don't want to abruptly stop these prescription medications, obviously. I, had her consult her physician, and she was off of the Ambien 100% within 1 month.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, she just went for it. Everything I told her to do, she was like one step ahead. Like, I gave her kind of like the written out, and she just kind of took initiative and just went for it. And I'm just so proud of her. And she's, you know her, she's a beautiful person, full of energy, full of life. She wears her little sleep tracker, and she knows, and she's very.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Is that's how she goes at life.
Yeah.
Is she just goes at it. She's like, okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, she's great energy, great people. Just with that determination, that commitment, like she didn't want to be on that for the rest of her life, and kudos to her for getting off of it and knowing to get off of it. I think a lot of people too, I know people on multiple antidepressants, and they, one stops working. And that's the other thing with CBD. Over time, you actually need less. Where it was pharmaceutical drugs, you build up a tolerance, and you keep upping the dose. So this is it's really great. And dosing is tricky. We always say start slow and low. Every person, every human, we're all individuals. So you find your individual dose, what works for you. I recommend journaling. Start with a small dose.
That's really smart.
Be in touch with your feelings, and know how you're feeling, and go from there.
What are your experiences, and this is a totally random question, so I don't know if you'll have an answer, but your experience with people who are on antidepressants, anti-anxiety meds, things like that. Do you have any experience, whether it's your experience, your people you have given it to, or just through the company?
I know through the company, so many people have gotten off their antidepressants.
Good.
Those classes of drugs come with so many side effects. And I hate to say this, but I know a fair amount of men who refuse to take them. They're just like, nope, I don't want those side effects. I'm not doing it. I feel like as women, we would rather feel the side effects than feel the other things, and so it's kind of
because that's what we are. We're feels.
We do. We have all the feels
we
too.
Do.
And then also when you're told you're crazy and you can't figure out what's going on, and
it's heartbreaking.
Hormone levels and everything that we go through.
Yeah.
Weekly, monthly, all the things, the cycles. So just kind of stabilizing everything, leveling it out. But there are so many testimonials. I've never been on antidepressants personally, but everyone I know has at some point. And some people just stay on them forever, which I think is no way to live life. It's not living your best life.
No, it's really not. And I asked the question because there's so many of my own clients who are on them and have been prescribed them. And I'm going to say this because anybody who's on it or is curious about them, there's a book called Disconnected that is an amazing book. I need to do a show on it. It's just not my comfort zone, talking about anxiety and depression and that kind of thing. So I might have somebody come on with me who can talk with me about it. But the book Disconnected, Johan Hari, I think.
I've never heard of it.
It's a really good book. It's really informative. But so much of what happens is, and I ask every time now since I've read this book, I ask the question to people who tell me they're on antidepressants. I say, are you going up in your meds and your dosing? Like, yeah, every time we titrate up. Like, of course, that's what everybody does. I think across the board, there may be some who get to come down, but it's interesting. It's not okay. These drugs are not okay. And so if you're listening and this is you or somebody, look into other ways of managing what's going on. Read the book. It's a great book. And again, find your team and look into something like Green Compass, where they have good quality products, where there's a lot of goodness behind the company, but then behind the product itself. Yeah.
Yes.
So we're pushing our time. I know we got a little bit of a late start, which kind of stinks. So maybe we just have you on again.
I would love to come back. Yeah, let's talk just do this again.
Yeah, for sure. So let everybody know though where to find you, and how to reach out and how to get good stuff. Good CBD.
Yeah, absolutely. My Instagram is just my first and last name with underscore before and after, so underscore Angie Goddard underscore. Facebook, I'm on Facebook. I have my own Green Compass site. It's Elevation CBD at greencompassglobal.com.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Awesome.
All right, everybody. Well, thank you so much for joining. Of course, you can find me at tastelifenutrition.com. We stream live here at KUHSdenver.com every week, every Thursday at 10 a.m. If you want to reach out to me, which I would love, as you well know, I'm here as a resource. My goal is to do my best to give guidance to anybody who's seeking it, and maybe even those who aren't.
Maybe they don't know. You found them, they're watching for a reason. I totally believe that.
Yeah. But you can find us at tastelifenutrition.com. You can find us at Taste Life Nutrition and all of the social media, pretty much everywhere. Of course, this show becomes the Taste Life Nutrition podcast, which you can find. We're on YouTube. We're everywhere. So you can always find recordings of the show in multiple places. If you want to share it, this is one of those good ones, I think, to share, to have the information to give to people who may need it. So also, I am looking at first quarter, I believe actually mid-February, of launching my upcoming Soulful Conception, not Soulful Conception, I just went way back. No, it is Soulful Conception. Man, it's my brain. Soulful Conception, which is, as I keep talking about epigenetics, it really is my mission to bring health to generations. Epigenetics is generational. We have the control, we have the power today to create a healthy future, and that's what Soulful Conception is about. Let's bring health to the future. But it's starting now. It's starting here. It's starting with your body. Creating a healthy body creates a healthy pregnancy, a healthy delivery, a healthy baby, a healthy adult, and healthy generations to come. Imagine being the great-great-grandparent of amazing, thriving, great-great-grandkids and beyond. It's a really beautiful thing, and so it's coming. We're going to have amazing guests who join us who are true experts in the field of all of the different areas of health and fertility, and even infertility. This is for everyone in that area, including men. So women, bring your men, and we'll talk more about it. I'll have more details as we get closer to it, but I would love to have you reach out if you have questions about it. Go to the website. You can fill out a free analysis there for whatever your needs are. We can chat about it. I reach out to you personally, and we can go from there and see how we might be able to support you. So thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week at 10 a.m. Mountain Time here on KUHSdenver.com. Bye, everybody.
Have a good day.
Thank you. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Nikki.
Yeah. Appreciate you.
Yeah, I appreciate you.
All right.
I just don't know how to do it.
Yeah. Go back to it. Can you go back to it?
Yeah.
There's just an end.
Finish.
Yeah.
Yay.
Whew. And it'll have a couple of questions for you.
Okay, cool.
Bye, everybody. Thanks all for joining. I see you have more questions. Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Well, maybe you can still. Can you read it? If he's still there.
Color test and inspect product quality at license retail. Go to website. Oh, okay. I see what he's saying. For it to be sold in the state. Oh, and a state that has some. Is it consumer regulations? Yeah.
Okay.
I'll have to look at that. Yeah. Let me take a picture of that.
Okay. She's gonna take a picture of you, Lil.
He sent a website. Okay, cool.
Okay. Very good. All right. Thanks, everybody. See you. Bye, Lil.
Oh, I see what he's saying. He's talking about THC, I think. Right, Holly said, of course. Ha ha ha.
Okay. Let's jump out so she can come in.
Your glasses are still in there, just so you know.
guys have fun?
We did.
Good. And you got all your stuff fixed?
Working on it.
Oh, I see what he's saying. Because Colorado is a state where we have regulations, state regulations.
Okay. Gotcha.
But most of this, still most of the states don't have that, right?
Right.
So,
Oh, thank you.
who is Lowell? So Lowell Weidman. He's a coach, kind of a business coach, but he works with athletes. He works with whether they're younger athletes to elite athletes to athletes who are transitioning from. Every time it goes black, then I lose the video on Instagram.
Something had low power. I think it was your phone.
My phone.
Yeah.
And anyway, so he works with, and I don't know if I said this, I was thinking it, but he works with those elite athletes who are transitioning from being athletes to being business owners and kind of how to do that kind of thing. So he's also a PhD in